Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for listening to our podcast and joining our friendship here as we talk about things that we share in our lives. And we have a guest today with us. Sam Daniels is here, and we're excited to learn more about his work and just what goes on in his life, too, as well as just sharing what usually comes up. So I'm going to say hi to Ramie first. And Ramie, did you have a good week?
I did. I did. What did I do? Oh, I had two clients. It was really nice. Two new ones, and yeah, I know I helped them because they said I did. I hope I did. Yeah, it was really interesting. And then my yoga person came back, and that was good to see him. He's a beginner, but he'll go real strong for every week, and then every now and then he'll take off 3 weeks. And I don't ask him, but he comes back, and that's all I care about. So he came back, and
Okay.
and he told me he bought a Mito Red machine because I have one.
Mm.
It's uh, maybe I could show it to you. I can go grab it, but it's infrared and red, and I use Jeff's feet, my husband's feet. But I've been using it lately too, and I like it. And so he said he bought it because he has a, a heel spur or something. So that was nice to hear that he's open to my suggestions. So yeah. Uh, what else? That's it, I think. And
Oh, well, you had me yesterday. Oops, she's frozen on us there. Once in a while, we have a little bit of trouble. So until she unfreezes, did you have a good week,
ah,
Sam? Oh, oh, there she's back. So
uh-huh.
yeah, you had me yesterday, Ramie.
Mm-hmm. Had a good
Okay,
session
so
with
that
you yesterday. Yeah,
it was good. Yeah,
yeah.
it was good.
Uh, yeah. So we trade sessions. So I take her into trance like state, and then I ask the questions that she wants to know. And yeah, so that was good. Yeah. And then I end with
I
the meditation. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really nice. I connect with angels and ancestors and universal spirit and ask questions what I want to know about the universe and what I want to know about things in my own life like ancestors. Or yesterday specifically, I'm working on a couple sessions that I'm are new that I've been developing, and I needed more information because I knew they were tied together, but I didn't know how they were tied together. And so that was kind of the basis of a lot of the questions. So that was fun. The sessions that I'm working on, I talked a little bit about last week here, but I'm doing a placental um, restoration or placental connection because
Oh, did you already agree? I was doing something here.
our placental energies are
Oh, did
still in
you?
the biofield, just like every organ in our body has a space in the biofield. So is the placenta, and I found where it was, and so in tuning the placenta, then I poured the released particles because I release those energies with the tuning fork and pour them into the third eye. And what I found was happening at the same time that I poured them into the third eye, the person's guardian angel came into their crown and filled them. And that happened to me by doing it by intention without tuning forks, but because I wasn't prepared voltage wise or electrically wise through a um, what I can do with the tuning forks, then it left me kind of discombobulated for several weeks until I figured out what to do. And that was another hypnosis session back in September that helped me find what I needed to do to help people and myself not be discombobulated when that happens. And then just a few weeks ago, um, a client had brought up to me saying, "Hey, I want you to do a zodiac tuning for me." And so I kind of was figuring out how to do that. And as I was doing that one, it was like there's similar things that I'm called to do each time that are similar to the placental connection. And I wanted to know how they were connected. And so that was really cool. I learned a lot yesterday. That
Good,
was
I'm glad.
nice.
I'm glad you found it.
Yeah. So, Sam, how was your week?
How was your week? Yeah.
Well, my name's Sam Daniels. I had a wonderful week. My business is called Remember Touch, and you can find me at remembertouch.com. But I had three clients yesterday, and it was a wonderful experience. Um, I love helping people remember their own power and how they can heal themselves. And my favorite thing to do is to help people help themselves. And throughout my life, I've gone through uh, many opportunities to heal my mind, body, and spirit. And I think because of that, everything that I've gone through to help myself heal and be healthy and happy, it's given me a lot of compassion for people in general. So I love working with people and helping them feel better and I do massage therapy and reflexology and Jin Shin Jyutsu and nature connection all combined to help people help themselves. So Jin Shin Jyutsu, I wanted to talk a little bit about because it's a long word and uh, people don't know what it means a lot of times. Um, so Jin Shin Jyutsu translates in English. It's a Japanese word to the art of the creator through the man of compassion. And when it says man of compassion, it doesn't mean like a uh, male female connection. It's man as in human. So it's the art of the creator through the human of compassion. And basically, how it works is there's 26 safety energy locks throughout the body, very similar to how you would understand acupressure, um, but it's a light touch therapy. So it's just about basically holding those points. And what I wanted to go over with you guys today, real quick, and anyone that's listening, is just the fingers. There's 5 fingers that are for self help. And I've been practicing Jin Shin Jyutsu about 11 years now on myself and with people, and it's helped me a lot with my digestive system. So we'll kind of go through the fingers. So the thumb is the first finger. So the thumb is the stomach and the spleen. So when you hold it, you just take your other hand and you just hold your finger and you just relax while you hold that finger. And you actually want to not squeeze tight, but relax your body as much as you can. And basically, once you feel your heartbeat in your thumb or you feel harmony, then you can move on to the next finger. So the thumb is about, um, again, stomach, spleen, and there's an emotion. There's more connections, but I'll just go over those 3 for now. Um, and the emotion for the thumb is worry. So if you're ever feeling worried, there's people that get butterflies in their stomachs and it's connected. Um, Babies, when they're young, they'll come to the world, they'll suck their thumb, and that's how they kind of develop their digestive system. So a lot of it's innate, but it's just, we've just forgotten how we do things without even realizing we're doing them. And it is like a light touch therapy, so it's very simple. So
So
the thumb,
does
go
it
ahead.
matter how if you put your fingers one way or the
It
other
doesn't.
way?
It's just
No.
holding it, just holding that finger.
So it can
Hmm.
be in your palm as well as your fingers, or you want your
Yep.
fingers?
Yep. Either
Okay.
way is
Anyway.
fine. Yeah. Eventually, it'll cycle through. So, um, the thumb again is stomach, spleen, and the emotion of worry. And then we'll move on to. I mean, you can keep holding whichever finger you want, but the pointer finger is kidneys and the bladder, and it's the emotion of fear. So that whole system is very associated with fight or flight. So just holding that finger helps like calm any sense of fear. Um, Basically, the need to run away versus just being with something and feeling it. So that helps with the bladder, the kidneys, and the emotion of fear. That's the pointer finger. And the next one is the middle finger. Middle finger is the um, liver, gallbladder, and it's the emotion of anger. So that one's easy to remember because it's the middle finger. But that helps with any frustration, impatience, um, any feelings of anger that come up. Holding the middle finger is always good, and it helps the liver and the gallbladder. Um, the ring finger is the uh, lungs and the large intestine, and it helps specifically with grief. So when you breathe, it helps process grief. So it helps open the lungs, helps the large intestine oxygenate. So holding that ring finger helps with grief and breathing. So the next one, the pinky, is the heart and the small intestine, and it's all about presence. So the emotion there is called trying to or pretense, where you're trying to do something or you're overthinking it instead of doing it. So, like, I'm trying to play the piano versus playing the piano, and or I'm trying to do yoga versus doing yoga. There's a difference between thinking about it and actually doing it. So that's the pinky helps with presence in the heart and the small intestine. So each of those fingers you can hold at any time. It's extremely beneficial. And like I said, you can wait until you feel your heart beating, or you just feel a general sense of harmony, and that harmonizes those 5 fingers. And the last thing I'll share about it is there is an element to each finger as well. I know this is a lot of information, but at least it's recorded. Um, so I'm just going to go over each one, the 4 things. So the thumb is stomach and spleen, and it's the emotion of worry. And the element for the thumb is the element of earth. So stomach, spleen, earth element, and worry. The pointer finger is the kidneys, the bladder. It's the emotion of fear, and the element for the pointer finger is water. So that's the kidneys and the bladder is obviously the urinary system associated with water. So it's easy to remember that the pointer finger is water element. Um, Middle finger is the liver and the gallbladder. So a way to remember is like if people drink alcohol, sometimes they can get angry. It's affecting the liver, the gallbladder. That's the middle finger. And then the emotion is anger, and the element is wood, the wood element. So once you start to like become aware of the connections of things, the elements make more sense, because wood is like, okay, I need to work with wood. How do I process my anger? I might need to chop wood. Um, I might need to eat different foods associated with these elements to support these different systems, or I might need to drink more water. So it just gives an understanding of the body as a whole. And then the ring finger is the lungs, large intestine, the emotion of grief, and it's the element of metal, also known as air, but metal because the metals are in the air. And then lastly, the pinky is the small intestine and the heart. And it's all about presence, and the emotion there is trying to or pretense. And then the element is fire for the pinky in Jin Shin Jyutsu. So basically, when you hold these fingers, those emotions, those elements, and those organ systems harmonize. And it's not that the emotions are bad. The worry, fear, anger, grief, or pretense is bad, but it does help process those emotions so they're not stuck in the body. So it helps to remove stagnation that creates various symptoms and problems in the body. So it's just kind of cleaning those systems, and all you do is hold those fingers at any time. So I love it, and I love sharing about it because it's very helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Hmm.
I didn't know those. I mean, I have a reflexology chart, but I
Hmm.
haven't like studied it to be able to remember it. So yeah, thank you. I
Hmm.
appreciate that. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
Very good.
yeah, I'm familiar. Did this gal and I, we used to trade sessions, and the fingers is what she would always stress and teach. But when I
Hmm.
had a session, I would lay down, and
Hmm.
uh, she would always, for my metabolism, she would put both palms at the inside of the thigh.
Hmm.
She told me I could do that when I lay at night because I have a slow metabolism.
Hmm.
And yeah, so good. But
Nice.
coming back to the small intestine, because I have celiac,
Hmm.
and when I do eat gluten, which isn't very much, but when I do, and if my stomach starts to talk to me, I'll hold my pink finger, and it'll calm
Nice.
Mm.
down.
Good.
Yeah,
Yeah, she was
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about safety energy
And
lock one. Oh, go ahead.
uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. And then this one, yes, it was always for fear and this worry, overwhelm. Yeah,
Hmm.
sometime at KU just a few years ago, learning my mother's language, I was overwhelmed because I remembered it, but I couldn't apply it. I couldn't speak it. And so in class, I would always hold my thumb or index finger, my pointer finger down in my lap, and no one even knew what
Yeah.
I was doing. Not that they were
Yep.
watching me, but it
Yep.
helped me a lot.
Good. That's awesome.
Thank you,
Mm.
Sam. Yeah.
Yeah, the safety energy lock one for your metabolism is inside of your knees, and then it goes up inside of your thigh. That's it's called the prime mover. So each of these, there's more in-depth words. That's why we talk about, what is digestible and not everything all at once, because it would be too much. And it really is
Mm-hmm.
like a lifelong learning practice where I'll be learning about it the rest of my life, and I love it, and I have seen like wonderful results, and there's so much like self-help, and it's not difficult. It's very simple. That's what I really really love about it. And the history of it is really cool. It comes from Japan. Jiro Murai was the man that he said he rediscovered it. He didn't create it, but rediscovered it. It's a very ancient art form. And there was a lady named Mary Burmeister, that brought it here to the United States from Japan, in the West. And it kind of like similar to how yoga spread, I guess, Jin Shin Jyutsu started to spread. When there's things that just work for people, they have a tendency to, um, I mean, if people are seeing good results, it spreads, and so I think it's a wonderful thing, and I'm honored and very happy to carry these teachings on. And it's nice to be a young person and be an advocate for such an ancient
Mhm.
uh, technique. So I'm really happy to share it.
Well, and you said that it's the index finger here that's for fear. That's really part of the fight or flight. Is that correct?
Hmm. Yep.
Well, I think
Mhm.
that could be so helpful. I mean, even I was just thinking for me, so often, and I'm sure I'm not alone. I know I've heard um, doctors or chiropractors say, they have some patients who they have found never come out of fight or flight. They
Hmm.
can always find that reaction in their bodies. And so often it's like, even at night, I'll wake up during the night and can't get back to sleep. And I realize after a few minutes, well, it's my mind. It's not like I'm really consciously thinking of anything, but it's subconsciously has kicked in fight or flight of some kind in
Hmm.
a worry pattern. And this would be anytime you would find yourself with worry or in that fight or flight, that would be something so easy that
Hmm.
you could do. Yeah.
Hmm. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that's the pointer finger is the fight or flight if you get into the organ systems, because well, the adrenal system sits on top of the kidneys, and so it's um, where adrenaline comes from when we go into fight or flight is on top of the kidneys. It's not the kidneys themselves, but it's that pathway, the kidney and the bladder. So that's like fear, like if you wanting to run from something nowadays, it can be, even if we're in our job, we feel fight or flight. It can be anytime. And then a lot of worrying, like thinking, when you're thinking a lot, that's more the thumb. That's more like becoming grounded, the earth element. Worry, um, it's about digestion. How do you digest those thoughts? So bring from your head this brain down to your heart brain, down to your gut brain. So the thumb's really helpful for like too much thinking going on, becoming grounded. If there's a lot going on around you, the thumb's great. If you're flying on an airplane, the thumb's great to hold. Um, Eventually, all the organ systems cycle through. So that's why it's like you really can't go wrong holding any finger at any time, and then paying attention to how it makes you feel. And just like with anything, as you practice more and more, um, you start to realize, wow, this is really powerful. I'm now aware of when I'm feeling worried, and I hold my thumb and I breathe, and I'm able to like focus again, and it changes your state. And for me, I do this all the time. I mean, I find myself, I'm doing Jin Shin Jyutsu all day long, wherever I'm at, and it's helpful. And like Ramie said, with her finger, no one knew. You can hold your fingers. You can be walking in the hall with your hands behind your back, holding a finger, and no one even knows. And it's okay. It's not like it's a. Um, I kind of joke. It's not illegal. It's free, and it's right here anytime. It's okay. And so just holding your fingers
Yeah.
throughout the day is awesome. And yeah, no one, is really judging or even knowing what you're doing. Not that that matters too much, but it is nice that it's just so simple and accessible.
Yeah,
Sam,
for
I
sure.
used to tell well, I still tell my clients it's pretty handy.
Yeah, it is.
Pretty handy. All you got to do is
Yep.
I mi I missed your joke
And so,
there.
and so, yeah,
I
that's
finally
right.
caught it.
That's right. And so is tapping. I mean, it's just right here.
Right.
It's
I
right
know.
here.
I love it.
Pretty handy. Get it?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I
But
get it.
it is. It's just right here, right now. Yeah. And it is.
Yeah.
It's. Try it next time, Carla. Really nice. A nice
Yeah,
way
I'll
to
try
calm
that.
down. Yeah.
Often I, end up doing Psych K, where you cross your ankles and then you cross the opposite wrist, and then you
Mhm.
say it's for negative self-talk, basically. So then you, say a
Mhm.
very, very positive affirmation that counter affects the negative thoughts that you had. And I can always tell you breathe as you do it, and sometimes it takes a few minutes, but it's like I feel myself going through a big change as it goes. Sometimes my body's jerking around because just energetically the emotions inside of me are changing, and so it goes from um, the whatever the emotion, like often it's low self-worth, or unworthiness, or not feeling that you're enough, but it can be fear, it can be anger, anything like that. And then I feel my body go through those changes until I feel ease, and often I usually wait until I have a smile on my face automatically. Not that I'm trying to smile, but it turns to joy, right? It turns to peace. And then you uncross your ankles and uncross your arms, and you go like this at your third eye, and do the same thing. Repeat the same affirmation as you do the deep belly breathing. And again, I can usually feel the same body changes going on during it. And I just do that and keep repeating until again I have a smile on my face. And I like that a lot. But the finger would even be less obvious, right? Than
Mhm.
that. Like, what it reminded me right away was I had was on call for jury selection this week, right? And so, or this month, and thankfully, the first 2 weeks of the month, the cases settled out of court. Last week, I had to show up, and I courtrooms automatically like hit me with fight or flight, of a lot of fear because of my past. I was married to a drug addict and alcoholic who was abusive, and he was in and out of court and in and out of prison for many of the years we were married. And um, so all those packages of emotions um, come back when I'm in a courtroom. And I can think with my mind, well, it's not logical, right? But that doesn't help the emotions. And I can breathe, but a lot of times if I'm kicked into the fight or flight, then just the breath work doesn't take it out by itself. So that would have been very helpful. Thankfully, I was I was able to get out of the jury duty. I was excused, dismissed for cause, they said, because honestly, I told him, well, I would have a biased opinion. Now, it probably wasn't the biased opinion that they thought. They probably figured I would automatically come down on the guy. It was a drug abuse charge of some kind. And, or I think it was meth. The guy had used meth and some stuff had happened. Anyway, but my feelings are not against the drug addicts, right? I made peace and friendship with my ex-husband before he had passed away, and as my son grew, that he and I shared and stuff. And so it's not that, it's the legal system is broken, right? And it doesn't help those that are convicted. It doesn't help it hurts the families. It doesn't help society, and it costs so much money that they take. And anyway, so all these feelings come back, and that would have been helpful to just to be able to be there and sit there and hold it. But thankfully, I was able to like raise my hand and tell them um, what I felt, and so they let me off because they don't want anyone that's going to have a biased opinion, right? Or at least one side or the other doesn't. So anyway, that would have been helpful to know. So I'll try to keep that in mind. Something
Mhm.
easy to do. But so
Yeah, it's helpful. Yep.
now,
And
oh,
oh,
no,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead.
I
No,
was
I
just
was
gonna
gonna
say, I was
go
gonna
ahead,
say, I'll
Sam.
go. I'll go. Gio Marai, the guy that rediscovered the art, something that's kind of cool about it is there is a science. It's an art and a science in that he studied. He tracked the meridian lines in the body, and that's where the finger associations with the organ systems and so on come from. And he dedicated his life to understanding it and healing. And uh, he worked with homeless people first, and then on himself for many years, and then eventually it translates over to animals as well, which is awesome. There's charts for horses, dogs, and cats. And also, if someone else, even that you're working with, is feeling something, anger, fear, worry, grief, uh, they have trouble being present. They're they're trying to do things versus doing things. They're overwhelmed. Um, any of those fingers, even if someone else is experiencing it, you can hold your own finger for them. So it's the whole
Mm.
help
Yeah, like
yourself to help
right, like a
them.
hologram.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and so
you
you're
can be the
embodying it.
advocate, not the advocate. What's that word? The
Yeah,
where you take the person's place. Yeah.
yeah, and it's very helpful, especially for people that are empathetic or they can't tell if it's their feelings or the other person's feelings that they're feeling in their own body. And really, to make it super simple, it doesn't matter. Just hold your own finger. You can't force them to. That's how you can help yourself, and through helping yourself, you're helping them. So that's a great thing to
Right.
remember if someone is experiencing something like that as well. So there's many opportunities for it.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
very nice. Yeah. Um, what about because you also do, I've heard from Ramie and Jessica that you do craniosacral work, right? And massage.
Well, I'm not trained in craniosacral work. I incorporate reflexology in what I do with the ears, hands, and the feet. Um, I will work with the head, but I'm not trained. I want to get trained. That's like on my agenda because, uh, you know, um, there's two practitioners that I've gone to for a long time that both do craniosacral work, and I love it. I love it for myself, but at this stage, I can give a good head massage, but I'm not trained yet in the actual craniosacral release techniques. I just do
Okay.
Jin Shin Jyutsu, massage therapy, and reflexology in terms of as a
Okay.
massage therapist. Yeah.
Well, maybe I misunderstood and it was someone else that that they were talking about. I haven't met all their
Yeah,
friends.
well, or
So, don't know.
it
Yeah.
I think that's in my future. So, once I get the training, I'll let you know.
Very good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm always
It's
wanting to learn. I love to learn new
Me
things,
too.
and to hear someone talk and then think automatically, okay, well, how can I apply this to my work? I did that, oh, I don't know, a few months ago. I was hearing someone talk about sonic soul retrieval, and it was like, oh, well, I mean, that's a no-brainer for my work. I work with sound, right? And so I thought, so
Mm,
anyway, so you just hold that intention and kind of think about it, and it's like the next client I had, it was like, okay, universe, I kind of knew it, so follow me, right? I mean, it was like the universe says, okay, follow me, I'll show you what to do, and the opportunities come up right away. So
nice.
it's
That's
good.
awesome.
Now, you've
It's
got
George that does it.
okay, George. Yeah, I haven't met George yet. Maybe he can join us on the
Yeah.
podcast one day too.
Oh, he would love it. He would love it.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll have to set that up next time, or even do a foursome one day instead of waiting until one of us can't
Yeah.
has to miss.
Hmm.
Oh. So, like Ramie and I use lots of intuition in our work, right? And
Hmm.
listening to the spirit, and I think like I love chiropractic, and
Hmm.
um, I've been telling my chiropractor, it's like, a lot of what you do, if you tune into the universe, to the spirit around you and listen, it's like you could even go much deeper than you're going, right? You could and you could know that much more what is needed in something than just going with your mind through stuff. And I think his some of the things he does is intuition,
Hmm.
but I was trying to encourage him to do more. So do you notice that in massage? Do you mainly go from like mind and what your fingers feel, or do you
Mm.
use the intuition too? What do you think?
I would say 100% that I use the intuition. How I like to describe it is I do my best to listen and respond to the body or the person that I'm working with. So um, it's not really about me. It's about how can I listen and respond to what the body's saying, and the body does speak. It might be silent or quiet, but it is always speaking, and there's communication with, um, I mean, some people, there's like the other day I was getting into animal communication where you can communicate with animals and they can communicate back to you. It's a very similar dialogue that I have between myself and the person that I'm working with, and that it's not the words as much. It's I'm listening to their body and I'm able to sense what's going on with their organ systems through Jin Shin Jyutsu, the muscles, tendons, and ligaments through massage therapy, and then basically the overall health and well-being of the body through the reflexology. So I just use the tools that I have. I've done some Reiki training at two, but I'm not a master or practitioner of that yet. But I love. Uh, I feel like there's so much information that comes when I'm more tuned into the energetics, the auric field of the body. Um, so at this point, though, I'm mostly focused on the physical tissues of, muscles, tendon, ligaments, organ systems, food, nature connection, very physical remedies for people. So, like, for instance, I was going to mention in April, April 21st on a Sunday from 1 to 3 p.m., I'm going to do a nature connection class. And that's a big part of my background too, is I went to a nature connection school in Oregon for a long time. And it's from an Apache elder's teachings about our senses and about awareness. And for me, that was very important in my healing. So my own healing. So when I was younger, when I was in quite a bit of pain, massage therapy was one thing that really helped me. I think touch is really important for people, and I think a lot of people are deprived of touch, especially touch needs to have the proper intention. So my Remember Touch, my business is based on when we were all born, our mother, most of us, our mother held us at one point, and we felt what that felt like. And it was a feeling of being taken care of and being held. And when I'm practicing Remember Touch, it's about helping people remember that there is this healthy feeling of touch, there is this feeling of being held. And it even translates to them being able to hold themselves and being able to be held by the earth that provides, food and nourishment. So whenever I'm working with people, I incorporate all these things, food, nourishment, nature, because I don't see it as a separate thing. It's all how to be a healthy, happy person. So it honestly depends on the person I'm working with. That's why I say I practice listening and responding. So I think I answered your question. Um, so yes, I
Yeah,
use
yeah.
intuition.
Mhm.
Intuition, I think, is an amazing skill, and I think another way to describe it with just other verbiage potentially is um, communication that's beyond words. That is a heightened sense of awareness. When you're paying attention, you can notice, oh, that kidney or that part shoulder needs more work or attention. It's just paying attention. And the more that I practice, um, the more I become sensitive. Just like with anything, the more you practice it, the better you become at it. So I'm going to be doing this for a long time, and I love what I do. So
Good, good.
yeah.
Yeah. I like to listen to my body also. That's kind of what you're talking
Hmm.
about. Um, one of my favorite ways to do it, though, is to imagine as if in central channel breathing, where you're imagining that you're pulling in, the connection or the energy from the sky or from the oneness into your crown, and then as it goes through my body, I just go really, really slowly and um, try to put my eyes on the inside of me, right? And not that I'm picturing all the muscles and blood and everything else, but to see inside. And then as I slowly eases past the body, and sometimes it goes back up and comes back down, um, the feeling or my focus on it, then I get to the part of my body where I feel that resistance or that pain, perhaps inside, and then I stay with it, focusing harder until it's like you see diagrams of the spiral spinning through your
Hmm.
DNA. You might have seen
Mhm.
videos online about that or whatever, and it's as if that's inside and I see it, and it finds the point where it started, right? Or where it's hardest, wherever it is in me, and then I can focus on that and until it releases. Yeah.
Nice.
No, that's how I like to do it anyway. But
I like that.
yeah.
uh, when I work with women who have been through a lot of trauma and they don't like themselves. They
Mhm.
It's really evident to see that they don't love themselves. And so when I use the hypnosis, I will tell them that whenever they get a negative thought about themselves, because I always ask them about their inner talk, And when they get a negative thought, and if you're out in public or you don't have time, one thing I do is I do tell them to take the thumb and the two fingers. So that's fear and anger, because you're both when you're talking to yourself, And I just tell them to press the thumb, and I tell them to say delete, 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 and and it usually goes away. But what will happen, sometimes people are so resistant, right? And then I tell them, just imagine that thought the negative thought going up in the air, and it breaks up, combusts, and comes back down like flowers. So it's a nice image, because when you're doing that, you're delete, 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 delete. And then I see it going up like a firecracker and then coming down like flowers. And then I tell them to take their arms and just hug themselves. And then the other side. And if they have a mirror in front of them, I tell them to look in their left eye, and I tell them to say, I love you. I love you. And it works. So we all have our ways to help others, especially people who are so hard on themselves because they've been through a trauma. And sometimes they take it on as if it was their fault, and it's not their fault. And I tell them that too. And we go into the forgiveness process and just forgive everyone, because it's a really good thing to do for yourself. So, yeah. So I'm with you there, everyone. Yeah.
Thanks.
For sure. Yeah.
So we have a spot next week, right, Carla? Next week?
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to come back, Sam?
Yeah, I'll come back.
All right.
I'm
well,
so
good.
thankful to have this opportunity. So, Carla, it's really great to meet you. And Ramie, it's
Nice
always
to
good
meet
to
you.
see you. And
Likewise.
I'm very thankful. And yeah, I do have more to share. There was things that were coming up. So I think part 2 would be good because there's more to share. So
All right. Well, very good. Well, we can find a time and a date for next week after we end here. And so that sounds great. Yeah. And you can give me your website information again, or you can say it now again. I'll try to remember to put it in as a link down below too. So.
Okay. Yeah, it's very simple. It's remembertouch.com. So it's
Very good. Very good. Okay.
And
Well, thank you.
And you probably want to list your class if
The
people are
nature
local.
connection.
Is it at your mom's place?
It is. Yeah, April
His mother has a
21st.
beautiful, beautiful land, and she does a lot of nature classes, and so we can mention that too. So lots of good stuff to share.
Yeah.
And I look forward to talking more about nature next week, because I have a big connection with nature also, and something planned for March. So with nature. So that sounds great.
Good.
Very good. So we'll go ahead and end for today. And thank you guys, Ramie and Sam. And
thank
you everyone for watching. And I hope you have a nice week.
Okay. Bye. And now